Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today I got a real quick one for you concerning hacking the PlayStation Classic. So we've already taken a look at adding games, adding PvP files, accessing the emulator settings screen by using a controller. And today I want to kind of showcase a couple things so you can improve your experience with this device and get those PAL region version games running at 60 Hertz and also improve the graphics a bit. So that's what we're going to look at today. But before we jump into that, there's been a lot of people asking me to try different things. And I have tried I've tried a few things, but the one thing that I wanted to try was using a USB hub. So, kind of hard to show this on camera, but I do have a USB hub plugged into this thing with the Player 2 controller and the USB thumb drive, and I do have the Player 1 controller plugged into the first port. Now, I tried a ton of different USB hubs, some that were not powered, some that were powered, some that you could run either way. And the only way I'm getting this system to recognize any kind of USB hub is if it's externally powered. Now, there's good and bad with that. You see I had the hub plugged in, and you see I do have Tomba showing up. So it is recognizing my thumb drive. We have that extra game that I added to the user interface showing up. But the problem is I still have yet to figure out how to get the controller to work. So it's kind of strange because with the second player controller plugged in to the USB hub, no matter which port I plug it into, it reacts the same way. I can get into a game with just the Player 1 controller. Games that are two players will not recognize that second controller. But the strange thing is that if I get into the emulator settings screen, I can navigate it with the second player controller plugged in through the USB hub. So I'm still trying to tweak around with some settings, see if there's anything that I can do to get it to work. But any game that's two players, it will just not recognize that second player controller. I have some thoughts and some other things that I want to try with that, and I will share that with you guys when I test the stuff out. But I have a lot of different configurations of things that I can do to try to get a second player controller working, or get different controllers working. So I'm gonna be testing a bunch of stuff, reporting back to you guys. But the thing I wanted to showcase real quick here, let me find a game. Jumping Flash is a good one. No Restore Point. This game is, it's a pretty fun game, don't get me wrong, but it is a PAL region version they put on here. Now, with those previous hacks that we did, you can jump back to those videos. I'll put links in the description if you wanna check them out to be able to do some of this stuff we're gonna do. So we're going to hit the little hotkey to get into the emulator settings screen. So that's going to be select and triangle. A couple things we're going to want to do. This game runs really slow. I mean, any of these PAL region games, they're running at 50 Hertz, and they run noticeably slower than the NTSC versions. Now, with this emulator not being optimized, all sorts of stuff, you know, whatever Sony did with this thing, I can't really speak into too much detail. Some of these games still seem to run a little slow, but a game like this, if you go in here and change it to NTSC instead of PAL, it's still going to be the PAL version ROM. Any of the ROMs on here that are PAL versions, no matter what you do, they're going to stay PAL versions, but you can make them, you know, run through NTSC and run at 60 Hertz. So I've not had any issues with any of the games I've tested this way, but essentially you're just going to get into this screen, go to the PCSX menu, and then go down the options. What you're going to want to do is go to region and go to NTSC. Now, I've tried this. I know some people, you know, have kind of messed around with this, but if I save the config for the loaded game, it doesn't seem like it's actually saving it because I've jumped in and out, I've rebooted. I'm going to check into that a little more, but anything that I change in here, if I save it for the loaded game, it really doesn't save anything, it seems anyway. Maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. If anybody knows, let me know. But I actually don't think it's a big deal at this point with what we have access to. But there we go. We changed it to NTSC. Now let's go ahead and just get into the game. Then I'm going to show you some graphics comparisons, swapping this to, you know, some upgraded graphics versus the way Sony has shipped this thing. So let's go ahead and get into this. This is a pretty fun game. Let me see if my file is there. No, it's not. I guess I didn't save, but that's all right. Here we go. So I want to just skip this crap and just show you the game and then see how it's running. And you'll notice it's a little faster. I'll swap back to PAL in a moment, but you know, yeah, age hasn't really been great to this game as far as visuals go, but it's still an okay game. It's pretty fun. But there we go. Things are pretty smooth. You're jumping around. Everything's not looking too bad. Now let's go and change that back to PAL. Or if you just set it to auto, it's just going to auto load it as whatever the version of the ROM is. Like I said, it's a PAL version ROM, so it's going to load it as PAL. Now, it's kind of a little slower. Still playable, you know, for some people it's not going to bother them, but it's definitely a little slower. You can check this by actually showing the FPS, so you can turn that to on and then back out, and then at the bottom of the screen you'll see we're at 50, floating around 50. So that's about 50 frames per second. Dips a little below, maybe a little 0.1 above 0.1 or 0.2. And then if we go back and we change it to NTSC, now you'll see we're at 60, somewhere around 60, 59 to 62. It's going to bounce around a little bit. So pretty good stuff. That is how you can get your PAL version games that Sony decided to give us. That's how you can get them into 60 hertz. Now, since we're already in game, I want to show you the option to kind of upgrade the graphics a little bit. So go back to the menu. We'll go to options and then display. So software filter, you can do scale 2x or eagle 2x. I don't mess with the scan lines. Scan lines look like crap to me on this device, and I'm not really a fan of using scan lines most of the time. Not for games like this anyway, but you can turn them on and then change the brightness of it. I think it looks ridiculous, so I'm not even bothering. We just want to get this software filter going on to try to upgrade, you know, the visuals slightly. It's not gonna do any kind of crazy magic here, guys. But there you go. It is going to be a little sharper. Everything's running a little faster, looking a little nicer, in my opinion. I mean, I'm obviously not playing the game the way we're supposed to, because we're supposed to get these little, what are these things called? Whatever these things. You're supposed to get them all before you leave, the little jet pods. There we go. But there you go. You see, it's a little sharper. Let's go ahead and change it to the other option, the scale 2x. And it still looks better. I mean, my eyes aren't that great, so between the two options we have there, I'm not really noticing any huge difference, but there's definitely a difference there between if you just have it the way it normally is set. It's going to look a little fuzzier. Sometimes, this is the other thing. I'm glad this happened because I would have forgot to point it out. Now, if you keep messing with those options, you might get a little glitchiness here, but just ignore that for a moment because it'll fix in a second once I change it back. Some games don't actually do this. I've tested other ones and I've kept swapping the filter and it wouldn't do this. Like Tekken, for example, I kept going back and forth, and it would not glitch the screen. But this game, this is the one game that I kept noticing that would happen. So I'm glad that happened right now so you guys can see that. But just ignore that and just see the visuals are a little fuzzier, you know, a little more blurry than when we had the filter on. So keep an eye on that. Let's go ahead and turn the filter back on. We'll go to Eagle 2X, and it should take off that glitchiness. And as you see, everything kind of sharpened back up a little bit. Definitely cool. You can mess with this, get a little better results out of these games. Not everything is going to function perfectly. Some games may not work with some of these filters. So kind of use at your own risk or mess around with it. I don't really think you're going to really break your system or do anything crazy by messing with the filters, but just in case, do at your own risk. So far, I've not had any issues other than, like I said, this specific game, I would get that little glitchiness there if I kept messing around. Or if I went to like 2X or Eagle and then I went back to nothing, it would glitch out. And then once I went back, it would just go away. So pretty cool stuff. Just, you know, trying to share with you guys a nice little friendly video, trying to showcase some things that we can do here definitely really appreciate all the work that's going on out there, getting these hacks out there, getting all this groundwork done so we can really, dive into this thing and get it opened up and set it up the way we want. But hey, right now it's just kind of a testing thing, just messing around with stuff. So really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a few moments of your time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, throw them down below. If there's anything else you want me to try out, let me know. I have a little list of stuff that people have asked me to try, and I'm gonna try all that stuff and report back. So thank you. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sweet ass, and I really mean sweet ass love to that notification bell. You make a mess, I don't know if I can help you, but I will try. With that said though, guys, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom! Bye!